Have you ever felt like Marcus, nervous at the moment before you speak? Have you ever felt nervous just thinking about public speaking?
We are here.
Tonight, you're going to learn a little about the nature of speech anxiety, and more specifically, 5 techniques that you can use to transform speech anxiety into performance power. So what is speech anxiety? You heard it from Marcus. Your hands sweat, heart starts to beat, butterflies in the stomach, the hands straight, the knees shake, everything's like this. And what's happening? Adrenaline is pouring through your body. It's the fight or flight response, which evolutionarily prepares you to fight or flight or flee. It's the nervous system preparing the body for action. Now, of course, what do we do when we are, like Marcus was, sitting there? All that energy gets shut down in ourselves. So we don't have any way to bring it out, so it just works on us and we get so terrified and nervous. So the art is taking that energy and pouring it out into our speech, pouring it out into our performance, so that that energy propels a power in our performance. And the first step in doing that is an adjustment in mindset. Imagine you have a car. Turn on the car, drum the accelerator. How does that make you feel? The car's ready to go. It's a good thing. You wouldn't want it if you turned on the car and nothing happened. You'd be upset if you hit the accelerator and nothing happened. You start to recognize these so-called nervous symptoms as your instrument getting prepared to perform. You welcome this feeling instead of being afraid of this feeling. We redefine the so-called nervousness as, instead of I'm nervous, I'm getting ready to perform. I'm getting ready to speak. That's the first part of the mindset equation. The second part of the mindset equation, if you look at your handout, it says on the first page, stage fright is common to all speakers who are concerned about their performance. Now, of course, we're going to be concerned about our performance. We want to give a meaningful speech. We want to hold the audience's interest. But a speech master said to me once, you can identify 3 stages in your development as a speaker. In the first stage, you're concerned about your performance. The attention is on you. What am I going to do? How am I? Maybe I'll forget my lines. I'll this or that or that. Second stage, your attention is on your message. You want to make sure you get the message clear, it's well organized, you use words correctly, etc., etc. But it's the third stage, where your attention is on your audience, that you have a conduit, a connection to take all that energy and pour it out. There's an old song, I think it's a Bob Seger song. It's someone else. It's a Bob somebody song. And he's on the stage and he talks about giving every ounce of energy away. Taking all that energy that the instrument brings out and giving it away. Giving it away to the audience. So if your attention is on your audience, you don't have the opportunity to have the cycle complete on yourself. Think of yourself as you're having a party. You're a host of a party. Do you worry about yourself? No. You want to make sure people have enough food, they have drink, they're having a good time, you got the music, they're dancing, they're meeting people. Your attention is making sure that people have a good time. It's the same thing when you speak. Your attention is making sure that you're speaking to your audience, that you're making a connection with your audience. That's the first step, the first technique in transforming this nervous energy into performance energy, a mindset shift. 1, we welcome the nervous energy. 2, we focus our attention outside ourselves. And you might be thinking, well, that's easy to say. How do we do that? Step 2, experience. The big word, experience. There's a story about Jay Leno, the nighttime host. He was talking to a young comic, and the comic said, Mr. Leno, I want to be a comic like you. I know this is what I want to do. I want to be a comic like you. Leno said, well, that's great. So How often are you working? Well, once, twice a month at least. Leno said, well, you know, at that rate, you ought to have 5 minutes of rock-solid material in about 5 years. You got to get out as much as you can. You got to speak as often as you can. You've got a nice, safe place in Toastmasters. You have an opportunity to speak virtually every meeting if you'd like to, but it's not just Toastmasters, opportunities to speak House of Worship, opportunities to speak for your family, opportunities to speak at work. It's another mindset shift. Instead of looking at opportunities to speak as possibilities to fail, bad things can happen to me, every opportunity you have to speak is an opportunity to become a better speaker. No matter what happens, you heard from Marcus, from one point of view, all right, he lost. But clearly, from his point of view, he won. There's always an opportunity to grow. So that's step 2 in transforming speech anxiety into performance power, experience. Step 3, and this is, there's a list here. This is a Toastmasters handout. So step 3 here, what I'm calling step 3. Mental rehearsal. Many of you may have known this as visualization. You might say, well, I don't have that many opportunities to speak. But you have plenty of opportunities to rehearse mentally, to visualize mentally. There was an experiment done about 15 years ago with a group of basketball players. And it was to see techniques that would improve their free throw shooting percentage. And no, Shaquille O'Neal was not included. The players were sure, there were 60 players. Each of them, at the beginning of the experiment, took 100 free throws, and their free throw percentage was measured. Then they were divided into 3 groups. One group did no practice. That was the control group. One group shot 100 free throws a day for the next 2 weeks, physically shot the free throws. The third group shot 100 free throws a day, but imagined, mentally, and mentally saw themselves making the free throws every time. At the end of 2 weeks, everyone was tested again. Now the control group showed no significant difference. They basically had not improved. The group that had physically shot the free throws, they showed significant improvement, but most importantly, the group that had visualized shooting the free throws and successfully making the free throws showed more improvement than the group that had physically made the free throws. Because, of course, the visualizers never missed. Now, an interesting question, which the researchers didn't know, what if you took a 4th group and had them visualize shooting free throws and missing every time? Would they get worse? Because, unfortunately, visualization, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between positive visualization and negative visualization. And unfortunately, what happens to some of us is that we mentally rehearse bad things happening. We imagine forgetting our lines. We imagine they don't laugh at our joke. We imagine they don't listen to what we do. Anything like this. So mental rehearsal, visualization, is a very powerful technique, but you have to be careful with it, because you don't want to mentally rehearse a negative outcome. So that's our 3rd technique in transforming speech anxiety into performance energy. Now, all of this stuff, you might be saying, okay, that's fine, but I'm still nervous beforehand. This introduces the 4th technique, relaxation. Methods for relaxation. Now, the tried and true method for relaxation is the tense and release. And you can even do it with me if you like. It's very simple. Why don't you all stand up? Stand up for a minute. Okay. And real simple, just, you'll do it with your arms. Just tense the arms and release. Tense and release. One more time. Tense and release. Now the purpose of it is to experience that release. To experience the release of tension. Now if you're in a place where you don't want people to see you, you can do it with your legs and release. You can do it with your stomach and release. You can, if you have the opportunity, and you can sit down, thank you. If you have the opportunity to have a little private space, you can lie down and tense your whole body and release. Again, the purpose is that each time you release, you will experience the tension flowing out of your body, flowing out of your muscles, and you need to have a tension-free instrument to deliver effective speech. There are also common techniques, the neck, rolling of the neck, the shoulders, the rolling of the shoulders, like this, freeing the tension from the upper body like that. One of my favorites, and I demonstrated this for the 4-H Club on Tuesday, is a bouncing. You bounce like this, okay, and it should be like a rag doll, just the arms, everything very, very loose. And you can bounce your voice in there too. So relaxation, these are physical things that you can do to try to get the energy flowing in your body so it doesn't just clog in your head and make you crazy. And of course that introduces the 5th technique for transforming speech anxiety into performance power, which is vocal training, vocal development. Now, have you heard that the power of your voice comes from your diaphragm? Okay, everybody has heard that. Now, so the first element is, as it were, discovering diaphragmatic breathing. The easiest way to do that is lying down, take a book, put it on your stomach, and you should see the book go up and down, go up and down. All right, but that's just the source of your vocal power. That's only half of the equation. The other half of the equation are the resonators. Where is the voice coming from? And all of us, whether men or women, we want our resonance to come from the chest. This is the most powerful center for us. So one way to get acquainted with that area is simply dropping of the chin and doing it and feeling the vibration in the chest. The chest resonance, then we have basically resonators from the chest to the head. You move up from the chest, up into the throat, up into the mouth, up into the nose, and up into the very top of the head. And you might know some people who speak with their resonance up in the top of the head. It's a very kind of weak voice, and you can't really project very well, but there are people who speak like this all the time. And then there are people who are always stuck in their throat, and they never bring the voice down into the chest, which is where the vocal power comes from. The resonators, learning to use the resonators, it's not an overnight thing. It takes practice. If you want to learn more about this, I would recommend a book by an acting teacher, Chuck Hunter, Make Your Voice Heard. You can also work with a voice coach, a singing coach, to develop the voice. So there are physical aspects, literally physical aspects, that are involved in transforming that speech anxiety into performance power. There are mental aspects that I believe precede any of the physical aspects that enable and facilitate transforming speech anxiety into performance power. If you practice these, I'm sure that you will observe a change in confidence, the development of confidence, and you will learn to take the terror out of a talk and put the terrific in.